I'm Maddie.
And I'm Morgan.
And welcome to our first YouTube video. Today we're going to be talking about Miss Universe 2016. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the things that we liked and the things that we disliked from this year's pageant that were different from previous years. What's something that you liked about this year's pageant?
Steve Harvey.
Oh, I thought it was so funny how he brought humor to everything. It was like he would get a card and he would be like, oh God.
And when Pia gave him the glasses at the end, that was my favorite part.
I just thought it was so funny. And like after a while, I was like, is he going to do this the whole show? Like, because after a while, it's not going to get funny. But like, it was the end of the show and Pia brought out his glasses. I was like, this is still funny. So yeah, I definitely thought that he brought humor to it. Now, I don't know if I can handle it again next year. I think next year that we may need a new host, but I think Steve Harvey did a great job, and he actually announced the right winner this year. So props to you, Steve Harvey. What's something that you disliked about the pageant this year?
Probably the national costumes.
Yeah, I totally agree, because in previous years, like last year, I remember the national costumes being such a big part of it. They did their opening numbers and they came out. I remember Olivia Jordan specifically. She came out and she had on those red, white, and blue wings, and she was like an eagle. And she walked out and she was like, Olivia Jordan, USA. And I think that she did such a great job. And I think that that's a really great factor to add into the pageant to show everyone like their culture and something that represents them. So I definitely think, and I know they still did the national costume. Like they still did the national costume. I think it was on prelims and it wasn't incorporated into the international telecast. So I definitely think that next year that's something that they should bring back. And I know they came out in the Sherry Hill gowns and that she was an awesome sponsor, but I definitely think that they should have brought back the national costumes. So now we're going to talk about our favorite in swimsuit. Who is your favorite in swimsuit?
Canada. Go girl.
Why was Canada your favorite?
I liked how last year at Miss USA, they had Ashley Graham there representing, she was the first plus size model, and I liked how she is
like
showing
backstage.
She was backstage.
And she was there again last night too.
Yes. And I liked how she was able to get on stage and show that she was comfortable in her body. And Canada definitely rocked the swimsuit, showing that she's just not your typical pageant girl, but she knew what she was doing.
Yeah, when she went backstage, she was pulled aside and they talked about how she was a victim of body shaming. And I think that that she shows that beauty comes in all shapes and sizes. And even though I wouldn't necessarily consider her plus size, she was
very confident in her skin.
Well, yeah, she was like a little bit bigger than the other girls, but I mean, I still think she was beautiful, and I still think that she showcased everything that a Miss Universe should be, and I think she did a wonderful job. My personal favorite in swimsuit was France, and I actually wrote that down in the pageant because I like to take notes during the pageant, and I loved her confidence. And this year there were 3 contestants on the stage at the same time in swimsuit and evening gown. And when she came out in her swimsuit and there were 2 other girls, like she's just the one that caught my eye. She even caught my eye in prelims. I just think that she has that smile and she just has that confidence on stage that can just catch anyone's eye. And that's definitely why she won. I think
Bonjour, France.
I think she did an awesome job. So next is our favorite in evening gown. Who is your favorite in evening gown?
Thailand. Her dress was so unique. It was beautiful, and it absolutely fit her to a T. It was great.
Yeah, I think it was awesome. It was like that black and the over the shoulder.
It wasn't your typical pageant dress.
Yeah, I think it's something that you'd see on the red carpet. I think it was totally different than your normal pageant gown. My personal favorite in evening gown was Shauna Barber in Miss USA. And I may sound a little biased, but I think that she was different in day. She had on a beautiful red dress, and I think that even though red is like your typical pageant color, and not a lot of other girls, went for that this year. They went for something different, and they all ended up going the same. So there was a bunch of girls in gold, and I think Shauna in that red dress just looked amazing, and she walked with such confidence, and the dress just looked so beautiful with her skin tone, and I don't think there could have been a better dress for her. She went simple, and I think that it was beautiful. And she did a great job, and I was really sad to not see her in the top 6. Now we're going to talk about the top 6. We had Kenya, Philippines, Thailand, Haiti, Colombia, and France. So Kenya, I was rooting for her from the very beginning. I think when she got called into the top 13, she was the first one called into the top 13, and they came down, and they talked to her, and she rambled a little bit, but I think she went there with a purpose, and I think that she showed the world who she was, and I think that what she said very positively represented herself and her country. I think a lot of the girls get tied into, their brands and this and that. And I think she made it so far is because she kept it simple. She didn't, add all this crazy stuff. She was all about, I'm confident, I'm beautiful, I love where I come from. And she kept it simple. And I think that's why she made it so far. And I think she did a beautiful job. And it was sad to not see her in the top three. I mean, she had a really, really tough question, and it was something very controversial, and it was international for her. She was asked about the United States President Donald Trump, and she did trip up a little bit, and it didn't get her spot in the top three. So I was really sad about that. So Morgan, Miss Philippines was also in the top six, and she didn't land a spot in the top three. What did you think about her performance and her answer in the top six?
I think when she got put into the top six, she wasn't really ready. You could tell when she was put into the top 13 that she was really nervous walking on the stage. I'm sure everybody was nervous on that stage. It's a huge platform to be on. But I think, she got asked a question and she wasn't sure how to answer it. And she made it a little wordy. And it really didn't come off, I'm sure, how she wanted it to.
Yeah. I definitely think when she got called even into the top 13 that she just wasn't exactly comfortable talking. I mean, Pia from the Philippines, who's crowned Miss Universe right before her, that's some really big shoes to fill. And I think that she let all the hype kind of, psyched her out a little bit. So I think she got on stage and she wasn't very comfortable answering those questions.
Especially with the Philippines being the new host city.
Yeah, I definitely think
Miss Universe.
Yeah, I think she had a lot of nerves, and all of these girls were so nervous, so it was so sad to see that. But also Thailand was in the top six and didn't make it into the top three. And they asked her what world leader she looked up to, and she said the current leader of her country. And I think it's because she couldn't think of anyone else. But Thailand did a beautiful job, I think, throughout the whole pageant, and
She was beautiful.
Yeah, I definitely think she did a great job, but I mean, there can only be three in the top three, and I think that Colombia, Haiti, and France deserved it 100%. Yeah. So in our final results, we had Miss Colombia as second runner-up. What did you think about that?
I think in her top six questions, I had her picked for the winner. I love France. But she answered her question with confidence, did better than any of them. She was very confident in her answer. She knew what she was talking about, and she just had an overall great answer.
I think that in the top six, Colombia, Haiti, and France were all on an equal playing field. I think that they all were just doing such a wonderful job throughout the whole show. And then I think is what put France just a footstep ahead of everyone else is that in the final three questions, she just answered her questions so elegantly, and even though it wasn't in English, she had her translator. She just got so carried away, and she didn't take advantage of the translator as some of them do, where they'll just say 5 words and then let me think a little bit, and then so I can elaborate better. While their translator translates it. But she just got carried away. She forgot she had a translator. It's because she was so confident in her answer. So I think she did a great job. And that's definitely what put her ahead of Colombia and Haiti. So with that being said, we are very happy with the results of the 2016 Miss Universe. Congratulations to Iris from France, the new Miss Universe 2016. So if you guys liked my video, please share it and subscribe to my channel for future videos. Thank you guys for watching.